They will once again be lifting the Voyageurs Cup. They are your 2024 TELUS Canadian champions. The party begins. It's full time and it will last long into the night. It's 3 in a row for the Whitecaps.
Celebrations inside BC Place as the three-peat is complete. This is the goal that sealed it for the Vancouver Whitecaps, now becoming just the second team to win 3 straight in a row, joining the very team they beat here tonight. And there is Vanni Sartini, who he himself joins elite company. Greg Vanni, the only coach up until tonight to have won 3 straight national titles. Now you can add Vanni Sartini's name to that. A dejection by Toronto FC, who had a stellar game. They were on the front foot for most of the night here, but it does get decided by pens. Andy Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson with you. What a ride we were taking on tonight.
A wonderful game of football, which was an epic struggle for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Look, Toronto FC just not quite clinical enough. They had to finish their chances. 15 shots, 7 on target. Isaac Boehmer, the star performance, the young Canadian goalkeeper for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Sartini is going to be partying long into the night, but the other manager, John Herdman, is going to think, missed opportunity. How did we not win that?
Especially since, Jordan, in that first half, Toronto FC awarded a penalty kick.
This one has to sting if you're a Toronto FC fan, if you're a Toronto FC player, because there's enough in this match for this team where they felt like they could get over the line wheels. I mean, you're looking at Longstaff there. I thought he had an excellent game. Osorio, they were pushing. So there's more than enough for this squad.
He's dejected. What's curious to me is that Bernadeschi was the choice to take the penalty in the first half, where I thought Insigne should have taken it. I mean, Bernadeschi's missed all 3 penalties that he's taken this season, yet he doesn't step up and be one of the first 4 shooters to take one in the penalty shootout. You'd think that Bernadeschi, if he's confident enough to step up during the 90, that he would have grabbed the ball and been in the top 4 like the 5th shooter. You might not even get to it if he was the 5th shooter to take one. I'm surprised that he wasn't one of the first 4 shooters to step up and take one come pens.
So 90 minutes, I think we're all in agreement. It really was Toronto FC who was all over Vancouver. But at the end of the day, I mean, Vancouver gets the job done. Right from the beginning, they had said they wanted to win 3 in a row. Right from the beginning, Vanni Sartini, the players, they've all been saying the right thing, but also believing in it, that the national title matters. Winning the TELUS Canadian Championship mattered to them. It has to feel so good to finish the story with the ending you wanted.
Yeah, it's bragging rights, but you could also say this is their tournament. I think they're going into 2025 as well, knowing there's a 4-peat on the table. We said it in the beginning of this tournament that this was the team to beat. And they've just proven that tonight. Even though they didn't play their best football, and players that we've been talking about during this tournament didn't play their best, but it means something as well when a team doesn't play their best and they still go out and win.
Yeah, they are the top team in Canada right now. There's no denying it. They're a team that's built to make a long run for me in the MLS Cup this season. They're the most well-rounded team. While Montreal has kind of changed directions, gone young, had some highs, then rebuilt once again. Toronto FC splashed the cash, tried to bring in the big name. The Whitecaps just go about their business, adding here, adding there. They're becoming a much more complete squad. And I think on the balance of it, the team that finished the game for the Whitecaps in terms of personnel set themselves up better for penalties with more attacking talent on the field than Toronto FC had. And that's what this game came down to. Yeah. This was nowhere near the Whitecaps' best performance. It was a struggle. Toronto FC were the better side on this night, but I don't think there's any argument who the best side in this country is today.
Isaac Boehmer keeping his team in this game. He put on his own show. No, not Matt Boehmer from Magic Mike. Isaac put on his own show. Here he is with Oliver Platt.
Isaac, you just shared what was a pretty special moment with your goalkeeper, Coach Yusuf there. Just tell us what that felt like.
You know, just all the hard work that goes in every day, waiting for your chance to get it, and he's been working with me for 7 years now. And it's his 10th can chat, my 3rd, and just so proud to be working with him. He's a great coach, and it just shows all the work that goes in.
Can you describe the feeling of, well, you had a couple of them tonight, but to save a penalty, to come up big for your team in these types of moments in the final?
To be honest, it's just next save, because it could have changed at any moment into the last second, so just staying focused.
Did you feel any pressure coming in tonight? It's a position that can be cruel at times, and in a game like this, it must have felt like a weight.
That's goalkeeping for you. It's pressure moments, and you just got to live up to it.
3 in a row now for this team. What can you just say about this group?
Relentless. We always want more. Hungry, hungry, hungry.
How are you going to celebrate this one?
With my boys.
Congratulations, Isaac. Enjoy it. Thank you.
I still feel like he's in game mode. If the game's over, it's okay. Like, you can let loose just a little.
He's not ready.
He's not ready to
With
let
the
it go.
boys.
Game of his life here tonight.
Oh, man.
And I had mentioned that we had Isaac join us on One Nation this week. Go and check that out on the OneSoccer YouTube channel. And we had asked him, what if it goes the distance in the pens? He's like, that's okay, because he's like, I took one once. I scored. He was ready.
He's perfect.
He's perfect. He
One
was
for
ready.
one.
But it's okay. It didn't need to go to that because he was coming up with some big saves. And that wasn't just, obviously, in the penalty kicks near the end there, Wheels. This was, like I mentioned, in that first half, having to stop Bernadeschi as well. And even in the first, 30 seconds, having to come up with a big save.
He's the number 2 goalkeeper for now with the Vancouver Whitecaps, but Vanni Sartini trusted him in this competition from the get-go. He was consistently good throughout this competition. Remember, a former backup with Pacific FC in the Canadian Premier League. He has grown. He's gone step by step over the course of his professional career. And tonight, I loved how Vanni Sartini said in the opening interview with Oliver Platt, said, Boehmer's playing tonight because he's good enough. Not because of a Canadian roster rule in this competition, because he's good enough, and he just put on a display. He was the best player on the field for either side. He was the true difference maker, saving the penalty in regular time, but he was composed throughout. He's a big goalkeeper, Jordan, and he stood his ground. I don't think he was drawn out of position at all. It was just a really good performance by yet another really good young Canadian goalkeeper.
Locked in, 22 years of age. And you could see this is not a fluke. This is a guy that's prepared for this moment. Wheels, Andy, you know I love a feel-good story. And someone who is from Vancouver, from BC, gets to play at BC Place, steps up, stands on his head. This is what this tournament is about, the Canadian Championship. A kid that is playing for his boyhood club. Look at this. Pointing to the fans, getting the ice dumped on him. He deserved it. This is a night and a moment that he'll never forget. This is beautiful to see.
He dodged that pretty good, though. He's getting in the way of the soccer balls, but he dodged those ice pellets pretty good. He got out of the way. It is special. CPL title and 3 national titles. It's not a bad trophy case already. That he's already
22.
And he's 22.
Yeah.
Dare I say, we're about to find out. We're sticking around for this, but does he get also the Best Young Canadian Player award
Probably
here?
should.
It's a U23 award. He could very easily get that. That's what's going to be handed out, obviously, shortly here before we see the trophy presentation. But let's head inside BC Place. This is where all the action is right now. We're waiting for the trophy to be given to the Vancouver Whitecaps. I think the photos are being taken, announcements are being made. So let's just have a listen to what's happening inside BC Place with all fans sticking around, waiting to see their team once again hoist that Voyageurs Cup.
Whitecaps fans, please join Dr. Baker in congratulating the 2024 recipient of the Toyota Best Young Canadian Player Award to your starting keeper tonight, number 32, Isaac Boehmer. Fans, we're now going to call on Canada Soccer President Mr. Peter Abruzzo to present the George Gross Memorial Trophy to the 2024 TELUS Canadian Championship Most Valuable Player. Fans, please join Mr. Abruzzo in congratulating the 2024 recipient of the George Gross Memorial Trophy, your starting keeper tonight, number 32, Isaac Boehmer, as your Canadian Championship MVP. as well as TELUS Chief Communications and Brand Officer Jill Schneer, and TELUS Senior Vice President Healthcare Excellence Jagdish Sahoda will now join Mr. Aguso to present the Vancouver Whitecaps FC players and staff with their 2024 Champions Medals.
Well, there you go. We guessed it right for the best young player. But here's the thing. He also gets the MVP George Gross Memorial. And this is pretty special, becoming just the third all-time goalkeeper to be awarded that. The first 2008, Matt Jordan in Montreal. 2021, Sebastian Breza. So a big gap there before Breza ended up taking it, also of Montreal. So now, for the third time, it's a goalkeeper. And for the first time, it's Vancouver. It's a goalkeeper that's not with CF Montreal. This was pretty much, Jordo, a spectacular tournament for Boehmer.
Yeah, it was an opportunity that I took with both hands. Look, everyone's going to talk about the fact that a goalkeeper, U23, gets the Young Player Award, gets the MVP. But we need to talk about all the trainings, all the times that to be a backup keeper, to go and put in that work wheels knowing that you're not going to play, and you get your moment for the Canadian Championship, and you have the confidence and the belief from a manager, Vanni Sartini, that you're going to get your moment and you're going to relish. This must feel good for that young man.
The Whitecaps, over the course of their 5 games in this tournament, only ended up scoring 4 goals. So they needed Boehmer to be good. There were clear-cut chances against Pacific in the semifinal round, especially in the first leg at home where Boehmer came up big. So when your team's not scoring a whole lot of goals and your goalkeeper is getting the job done, he's going to get the plaudits. I think the back 3, the defensive shape for Vancouver, that's a thing that makes them so dangerous to play against because they're difficult to break down. And TFC just unable to break down that back line and beat Boehmer here tonight. So an unexpected name. No one would have guessed that he would have been the player to win the prestigious award, the George Gross Memorial Award for the most outstanding player in the Canadian Championship. But I think on the balance of it, they got the right player.
DeAndre Kerr, Toronto FC, will be taking home the Golden Boot with his 5 goals in the tournament. So that will be awarded to him, as you just saw a lot of Toronto FC players staying on the pitch, watching the presentation. I know a lot of times players don't want to stay. They would look away. Others do want to stay. They want it kind of burned into the brain to maybe motivate them for next season.
Yeah, maybe. This is the Whitecaps moment, though. I mean, you know, we'll go back and allow them to present the trophy.
We'll now call on number 25, Ryan Gauld, the captain of your Vancouver Whitecaps, as a representative of the 2024 Canadian Championship winning team, to join President Aguso and accept the Voyageurs Cup.
Hearing the Queen song never gets old when you are, in fact, a champion. Finish your thought, though.
Yeah, better than the pyro. That was about all that went wrong. What was that? Yeah, I mean, this is the Vancouver Whitecaps moment. And I feel really good for the club and where they're at, because oftentimes they were the team that were ridiculed in the Canadian Championship, losing to multiple Canadian Premier League teams in recent years, and they managed to turn things around under a really likable manager that has them, the club, the city believing. They've built this up methodically, and now they're atop the mountain when it comes to Canadian football. But it always hasn't come easy for them. What was their first win in 2016, Andy? Like, it took a while to get rolling for the Whitecaps, but now you feel like they've hit their stride, and appropriate that they get to celebrate yet another win here, the 50th anniversary season.
2015, and then they finally won again in 2022.
Yes. And most importantly, they prioritize this tournament. Play their best players, put people in positions to succeed. So I'm fine with them having a three-peat and next year having that bragging rights for 2025.
Yeah, the tournament is bigger than it's ever been before, obviously, with 14 teams. And we know this. We have been sharing these stories in the past, and we get it. I mean, we understand the MLS schedule and everything that comes with it. And oftentimes, the MLS coaches would opt to rest their top players for the Canadian Championship. And you would rob your fans of it, and not anymore. Especially now with this win, as we know, Vancouver has gained entry into CONCACAF Champions Cup. So it also matters in that sense. You can see here the recent winners, and obviously Vancouver with their three-peat. Twice they had to beat Toronto FC to get the win. 2023, it was against Montreal. Then in 2021, it was CF Montreal defeating Toronto. And yes, Toronto in that COVID year ended up defeating CPL side Forge. Before being awarded the trophy, before all the celebrations, earlier Vanni Sartini made his way on over to our Oliver Platt.
Vanni, does it ever get old, the feeling of winning this competition?
No, it's fantastic. I think it's a win of love. The love that we have for each other. The love that this group has, to get the togetherness of this group, because let's be honest, TFC played better than us. And, today we weren't able to do our things that we are supposed to do, and they were a better team, but just because we grinded, and again, if you're not a great group, you don't win this game. And and then Isaac was fantastic. So, I did a great choice putting him in goal.
Let's start right there, because an incredible performance from Isaac, and a risk, I think many people would say, to put him in a big game like this, but it paid off for you in a big way.
We knew for sure he went above expectation, of course, but we knew that he was going to play a very good game. We know how good he is. I think, my friend Jesse should look at him. He should look at him, and because he's a very good goalkeeper, he would start in a lot of MLS team. He's unlucky because we have Yohei that is so instrumental for our build-up, and maybe today you'll see it. Also, not having Yohei brought us a little bit of problem in our build-up. We were a little bit too mechanic, but it was fantastic. So I'm really, really happy for him.
When you think back to the team that you took over at the start of all this, and now I tell you 3 Canadian championships in a row, what does it say about what you've built?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I cannot even fathom. Like, we did something amazing today. Again, playing against this great team, winning again, 3rd time in a row. So I know people are gonna be disappointed I didn't take off my jersey today, but I'm gonna take off my shoes. Okay, so a new tradition. So I'm gonna take off my shoes, and so even all the fans will know that the tradition is respected. And of course, now we did a three-peat. Let's go for the poker.
Well, you're running out of clothing items, so that might become difficult now. But
I'm very scared if we win another time, but it's okay.
Is the tattoo getting an update?
It's tattoo. We'll get an update. We will have I don't know. I don't want to be bragging and putting just like a dash. So 2022 dash, and then I'll stop when we'll stop. But I think every win is fantastic. So 2022. I think this win is the win of the awareness, the win of the togetherness. It's, again, the win of love. So I'm really happy.
Vanni, congratulations. Enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
He did that whole, trophy celebration with no shoes on. It's okay. He's got some nice socks. No, we're not doing it in studio. We're not doing.
I tried, Vanni. I tried.
We don't have the amore that team has out on the field. We're not there yet. So we're gonna
no love.
We're gonna keep our shoes on. We have more to break down in this game. So this is pretty special, obviously, with the Vancouver Whitecaps. Toronto FC, by the way, When you look at the Cup history, they still lead the way with 8. But they've now had, most recently, 3 of their finals go to penalties. Like, you know, they ended up beating Forge in penalties, but here they are losing to Vancouver, and we know that happened as well in 2022 in penalties for them. So now CF Montreal's behind them with 5. Vancouver Whitecaps, they're trying to close that gap, and so far, Vanni Sartini, who became the head coach of the Vancouver Whitecaps because of the Vancouver Whitecaps losing in the Canadian Championship to CPL side Pacific, has now completely turned things around for this club in this national championship. And the real hero here tonight, and you know what? It's okay. The coach should take credit. He put him in, but this guy delivered. Isaac Boehmer wins Best Young Player, wins MVP of the tournament, and ultimately wins the Voyageurs Cup.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada because this journey belongs to everyone. Where are you?
I wanna run back to you. All I wanna do is run back to you and make my dreams come true. The only thing I ever do is run right back to you.
When the stakes are high, only the TELUS 5G network delivers.
Fraser Ed smashed it into the top of the net. And Noah Jensen with a missile. Sanchez lines up the shot. Preston Borges unmarked on the rebound.
Hey, buddy, need some help?
Me? Oh no, I got my own system.
Let us do the heavy lifting with Walmart grocery delivery.
I never thought of carrying it like that.
There's a look at your full-time stats. There were no goals scored inside 90 minutes of regulation, so this one went straight to pens. And yes, you could see Toronto FC with their 15 shots, 7 on target. Vanni Sartini even said it. Give credit where credit's due. Toronto FC were the better team until it went to penalties. I mean, even Sean Johnson made a save, but ultimately Vancouver, they reign supreme and win their 3rd straight title. By the way, the party is going to continue inside BC Place. If you love your footy, October 1st, there is more tournament action. It's the Women's Champions Cup. The Vancouver Elite Girls are going to be taking on the San Diego Wave. It's group stage still. Kaylin Sheridan, the goalkeeper for the Canadian national team with the San Diego Wave. But that will be happening October 1st, BC Place. They'll be hosting a lot of things. But in particular, we can't stop talking about Boehmer, but it all started in that first half because this could have been a completely different game, by the way, Wheels, if Bernadeschi was able to capitalize.
TFC dominant over the first 25-30 minutes. This came with less than 5 minutes to go before the half. Richie Larea, like he does so often, bait and hook. Laborda puts his hand on his shoulder. I don't think he pulls him down, but Larea feels it. He goes down. He knows that once a player puts his arm right there, he's on ice. He's toast.
In that position, he's finished. And then you have Bernadeschi getting ready and sizing up. But look at Boehmer. Patient, waits on that line. It's not a great penalty from Bernadeschi, but still, in that moment, this is where that young man's confidence grew, and he never looked back after that moment.
Goalkeeper still needs to make a save. He's only ever made one save on a penalty over the course of his professional career. It was in MLS Pro. Next Pro. So to save, a European Championship winner like Bernadeschi in a moment like that, it's huge. I just question, Toronto FC will go over the finer points of this game. They had so many chances, none better than that. Why is Bernardeschi taking that penalty when Lorenzo Insigne is on the field? Bernardeschi's taken 3 penalties this season, missed all 3. Insigne, there's reference points. He scored twice, 2 penalties against Inter Miami back in August in Leagues Cup. The attention to detail, it's something that caught up with Herdman and he was criticized about with the Canadian men's national team. Is it Davies? Is it David? Now I feel like in a massive moment for the club, like this was a huge moment. Was Bernardeschi the guy that you really want to take that penalty in that moment? Questions will be asked.
Finals are about details, right? And I just want to know if that was a decision that was made there off a whim or if that was already prearranged, if that was ordained, that if there was a penalty, because when I've played, we knew who was going to get the pen. We knew who was going to grab the ball. You can have a decoy of someone to stand in the spot and give it to the guy, but I'm old school that way. You know, in a final, you don't leave it up to who's feeling good. Insigne should be the one grabbing the ball, but I will give Herdman a bye in my own little opinion, even though no one will care, if he already chose Bernardeschi. But for me, I don't understand why it wasn't Insigne in the first place.
Yeah, look, I'm not slating Bernardeschi because he was the best Toronto FC player over this tournament. But again, that doesn't mean that he's the best player to step up and take that penalty in that moment.
The process could still be in question, for sure. And that's what I'm questioning as well.
Well, it didn't appear like there was any kind of jostling for the ball to take the penalty kick. It's Bernardeschi grabbed the ball, went down. There was, nothing said about it. And we had even, when Lorenzo Insigne looked like he was struggling and coming out, once again, like it's a problem, especially when you're dealing with a final like this and it goes straight to pens. You need a guy like that to go the full 90 because wouldn't it have been nice to have him as an option?
Yeah, and he took the shot in the 65th minute and then felt a little bit tight. Yeah. You want to know, I mentioned it pregame, what is your contribution, right? Insigne puts the ball down, he steps up and he scores. It's a different game. Now Whitecaps have to chase. The fact that you leave it 0-0, it almost favored the stronger team, and Wheels mentioned as well, the team that has far more depth on paper.
I thought that Insigne was kind of positionless through the game. He kind of just drifted in and out. He did have an incredible opportunity. I thought he did really well right at the start of the second half, a chance to get Toronto FC out in front, but it's disappointing yet again. John Herdman called out this player a week ago and said that we need him on the field if we're going to win titles. Again, couldn't get through 65 minutes. He's clearly dealing with a calf issue because even he was frustrating. He started to limp after he made that move inside. But I always say staying fit, being durable, it's a skill. And if you can't stay on the field and contribute for 90 minutes at this level when you're, a DP, you're a player of Insigne's quality, talent, ilk, that's a problem. That's a problem now, and it's a problem moving forward.
So once again, it was Toronto FC, though, that was on the front foot. Vancouver back heel. Let's take a look at some of those Toronto FC chances that could have just spelled a completely different story here tonight. Hence why Boehmer is a star. He is the MVP of the tournament, Best Young Player award as well. But you have to give credit defensively, Jordo.
It's in the first 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah, Vancouver did step up in that sense.
Look at this header. Like from Oso as well. Like these are big chances, right? And there was Long that could have gotten the end of that. But they had 66 possession today, Toronto FC, and it wasn't like they were just passing the ball around the back. Like they were going forward, they were playing, there was space. They just didn't capitalize on their chances. And finals for me, again, Wheels alluded to it, and I'll say it again, but it's about details. You have to punish teams when you get into these areas. Richie Laryea on that left side and just getting shots off. He doesn't look as comfortable as he does on the right. But if they don't score, if they don't put that threat on a team, then you end up in situations like Toronto FC did.
This is the chance right here. That's really well shaped by Lorenzo Insigne. That doesn't miss by much, just centimeters. I thought he took that really well. That was his best moment of the match. Great hit by Bernardeschi. It's a save. It was on target. I just think that the XG, the expected goals for a shot like that, it's a very low chance, low opportunity chance hit from that distance. I think that's rather straightforward for the goalkeeper. So there was moments. You brought up Laryea. That's another thing. If I'm John Herdman in Toronto FC, I got to rethink this because you have Richie Laryea, who was a weapon attacking down that right-hand side. He always cuts in and then goes out, gets a step on the defender, and then they have to break him down, take him down, or he has a clear cross in, or he has an attempt on goal. All the time in this game when he was getting the ball on the left-hand side, he was cutting inside And that was option A and option B, Jordan. He just doesn't look as comfortable from an attacking perspective down that left-hand side. I try to find another option because Larea can be one of the top right backs in all of Major League Soccer if he plays his natural position. On the left side, that's not it.
No, and to piggyback off your point, Wheels, too, how many times did Larea get the ball tonight? And that touch inside is negative. And what I mean by that, you're not touching it forward and going at the back foot and really pressing defenders. You're going backwards because it's uncomfortable for him on that left side. I think a player like that, if you play him left back, that's because you want to lock down a player for a match. But as you said, he is a weapon going forward down that right side. So are you defending teams or are you going to go and try to beat them? If you're trying to beat them, I think you play him on the right.
All right, well, there you go. And there was also...
and the fact that TFC, like, you saw those chances, the fact that they still don't have a number 9.
Yeah.
It's a big issue. Like, I guarantee, I'm willing to bet anything. pick something. They're going out and making a number 9 their number 1 priority this offseason.
Need to.
Like, that is their top priority. There's no doubt in my mind they're going to land someone.
Well, right now, obviously, Vancouver very happy that they landed Isaac Boehmer. He's cleaning house. He's going home with a couple awards here. As you can see, the George Gross Memorial. So he'll be taking that as well as the best young player. It is a U23 award. He is 22 years of age. So he gets to take it home with him. And, you know, you talk about Richie Larea and his positioning. We had some questions about Sam Adekugbe's positioning as well. And why is he on the right side? And then he himself went, I'm going to go on over to the left. And the complexion changed a little bit for Vancouver. Here he is with Oliver Platt.
Sam, 3 in a row. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. You know, we worked so hard this year. We put in some good performances, and we're so happy that we got rewarded for it.
This match seemed like a tough one for you guys at times. It was back and forth. Obviously, Isaac came up big. How did you think the performance went and just the ups and downs of the game?
Yeah, you know, finals are some of the most difficult matches. They're not always beautiful football. Sometimes it just comes down to sheer will. Sometimes it just comes down to individual quality. And we had that tonight with Isaac Boehmer. You know, he made a huge save in the penalty in the first half, and he kept us in the game, and then ultimately he won us the game at the end of it as well.
What kind of progress have you seen in this group just since you got here? It seems like a team that's maybe taken another step this year.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we have such a good group of individual players, and we have a coach who's got us all together, and we're running on all cylinders. And I think we have such a high ceiling, and we just want to show ourselves.
On a personal level, coming back to Vancouver, moments like that seem pretty special. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, most definitely. I really wanted to win this trophy. You know, I was lucky to win it before, but I didn't play. And I'm just so happy to be a part of this group again and come back and help win.
Thank you, Sam. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Also worth mentioning, the Best Young Player Award started being handed out in 2019. So Boehmer becomes the first to go away with both of those awards, the first player to win both in one tournament, as Vancouver now joins Toronto FC as the only team to at least win 3 in a row. Now you know what the goal is going to be for next year.
Yep.
They're looking at 2009 and 2012, and they're saying we need to go for the 4-peat. That's exactly what's going to end up motivating them.
Again.
Yeah, and they'll probably be
again.
front runners. We heard from Vanni Sartini. When we come back here on Matchday Live, the TELUS Canadian Championship Final right here on OneSoccer, we will hear from John Herdman, coach of Toronto FC, next as the celebrations continue inside BC Place in Vancouver.
For sport played with our feet. Funny how lending a hand takes us further together.
Thank you, Canada, for making dreams come true. We're with you all the way.
John, you said the anticipation tonight. What are the feelings like after this one?
A little bit of feeling gutted for the lads, but a little bit of pride as well. It's a tough place to come, BC Place, and get a result. But I thought we performed well enough to get a result in 90 minutes, and fortunately weren't able to take the chances we had, and we put ourselves in that hole, which is penalties. You know, that's going to be a lottery. So proud of the lads, but at the same time just gutted, absolutely gutted. I thought the trophy was close to Toronto tonight, but fair play to Vancouver. I thought very resilient. Young Boehmer did a hell of a job tonight. Took his moment, and yeah, congrats to Vanni and his team.
What was going through your mind and during the penalties?
Well, you just hope the lads follow the process. They've been practicing the penalties, and that, you know, the last thing we said to them was just stick to your process. It'll get a bit noisy, but stick to your process. You've rehearsed. So again, someone's always going to lose the penalty shootout. Keeper's always going to save. Someone's going to miss. And I thought Sean, credit to him, made a great save. Put us in a good position, and a couple of brave lads stood up and tried to take their moment. They missed, and I think as a coach, again, you just suffer with your players. You just feel for them, because that walk back to the halfway line's a tough one.
Coach, the decisive moment of the match, at least in the 90 minutes, was obviously the penalty miss from your player, Federico Bernardeschi. How did you feel that kind of impacted your team afterwards? I mean, the second half response from your team, especially at the beginning, was even better than in the first half, almost.
Yeah, I thought we had a lot of control. Again, like in a place that's tough to get control, I thought we had a lot of control. Probably had about a 15-minute period in the second half where I thought the Caps built a bit of momentum. But outside of that, again, it felt comfortable. We're just not clinical at the moment. It's been a couple of games now where we've been right there knocking on the door, but just haven't been able to find that killer moment, or we've found a keeper that's standing on his head. So that's the story of TFC at the moment. But you know, we get up tomorrow. We've got a game in 2 days. We're in the playoff hunt. And as I said in the dressing room, all I asked is that the team showed up tonight. They really showed up in this moment. I thought they did. They have to show up again on Saturday. That's the next task. They've got till 12 o'clock midnight tonight to suffer, and then we're on to next things. Chicago.
Yeah, building on that, you can say the performance today was something that I think a lot of TFC fans have been asking for of the team. You mentioned just a couple of fine margins there, but how are you hoping to kind of translate that, like you mentioned, to good performances, to rise up the table and secure that playoff spot?
Yeah, I think the difference, we've had good performances, but for 55, 60 minutes in games, particularly at home, we've been able to control games. We've been able to put teams, you know, Columbus 2 weeks ago, just not being able to finish in the first half with key moments. And what we asked for tonight was a 90-minute performance, you know, to really show up right till that final whistle. And that's what we've got to put together. There's no doubt in my mind this team have got the quality. When we're ticking and guys are fully dialed in, locked in, we're a very good football team. We've shown that. But we haven't been able to put that together consistently enough, game to game, or for 90 minutes. And tonight, I think, is just a good foundation to carry into Chicago. But we've got to look at these gaps, which is the finishing and taking our moments.
John, you were facing a Whitecaps team that were probably since the League's Cup group stage have played really well, you know, and you would have looked at probably a lot of those games and just seen at times a real flow from them, particularly when they're at home. And one of the things I was impressed with your team tonight was that you really stymied a lot of that. Just speak to the work that you felt you had to do to sort of nullify what they're good at, especially here at BC Place.
Yeah, I mean, they're good at a lot of things. I think that's the beauty of the Caps, but you have to stop Ryan Gauld. I mean, that's the starting point in the defending element, and then taking advantage of that in-to-out rhythm. You know, being able to be brave enough to play on the third-man combination centrally, which draws them central and really opens them up wide. I thought we did that well for spells. I think as we fatigued, they caught us on those central combos, but the lads still had the bravery to work it. So, you know, I think we played them in earlier in the year here, and, you know, the performance when you went back to it, you know, there was a lot of good elements. We were just so naive in dealing with the Whitecaps' key threats, which are Ryan Gauld, the crossing, and I thought our lads did really well dealing with the threat of White and Gauld underneath. So that was a good performance tonight. Tactically, I thought we were sound tonight. There was no issues tactically. Again, proud of the lads for that. I think we fatigued, that was for sure, mid-second half, but came back strong. I mean, I thought we could have won it in that last 10 minutes as well. But again, fair play to Vanni and his crew. They've got great team spirit. They've been together for 2-3 years now, and you can see there's a camaraderie in the team. They're hard to beat, and yeah, I mean, he's got to be proud of his lads tonight. They dug in.
Well, John Herdman wanting to turn the page and now start focusing on MLS play. Obviously, they are in quite the fight to make the playoffs. We've been having this conversation quite a bit. You know, if they could win the Canadian title, would that somehow appease the fan base? Even if they were to make the playoffs, it looks like, you know, they wouldn't go far. I don't know. This is why we watch sport. Anything could happen once you get a ticket to the dance. But either way, there was a real belief that there could have been some sort of salvaging of a season here with a trophy, and they don't get it.
No Canadian championship in the third try for Insigne and Bernardeschi. Look, new ownership at Toronto FC. Bill Manning has left the club. A new president will come into play. There's already changes off the field on the business side of things. I think this winter will be a season of great change. That's the Toronto FC story. The story about the Vancouver Whitecaps is a club on the rise. Like, you know, Ali Ahmed wasn't his best night. We expect him to move on at some point. They keep on developing, bringing in young players. They've Veselinovic at the back. What a signing he's been for the club. Kubas, Gauld, White, straight down the spine of that team. Talented in wide areas, adding a Stuart Armstrong. That's why I think that this team can take this win, which tonight they didn't play their best, and build off it. Because an MLS Cup run, that's what's on the table next, and that's the next task at hand.
Whitecaps have versatility, and most importantly for me at this time of year, cohesiveness. And you saw it. This was not the best day. Vanni Sartini mentioned it. These players know it, but there was grit. They were hard to beat. They hung around. And for me, they were clinical when they needed to be, and those are the penalties as well. So it went to the better side, but Toronto FC, you have to feel gutted because they did enough to be in this dance and to get over the hump.
And they're humble.
They just
they're
didn't.
humble.
And credit to Vancouver as well, because how many times have we seen teams, especially in a final, who normally play pretty good football, they panic, they start turning on each other, start yelling at each other, and they didn't do that, which is why I think Vanni Sartini said, like, we won this because of love.
It's amore.
Because
like
of amore. Yes, he
yeah.
won it because of amore, but I think there was truth to what he was saying there. The team stuck together.
Yeah. Let's hope that there's a knock-on effect here off the field as well. My only downside, my only thumb down for tonight was the attendance.
Yeah, not good enough.
12,156 in a great sporting city, a city that loves their Whitecaps. Last year, over 20,000. 2 years ago when TFC was in town, 24,307, almost double. We need to market this sport better. The Canadian Soccer Association needs to market it better. Like, this is a letdown for an otherwise great tournament this year. The final needs to have more people at it.
Big moment.
Point blank.
Big moment.
I will wave the flag. I will put the banner up because, yes, this has been fabulous. It's been great doing this with you guys. It's been great having the fans and the viewers at home along for the ride. It all started on April 23rd, and here we are, September 25th, crowning the 2024 TELUS Canadian champion, your Vancouver Whitecaps. On behalf of everyone here at OneSoccer, thanks for joining us on this incredible ride, and we'll see you next time.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.